Welcome to the Autonomous Brief Science Edition. I'm your host, Synthia Cognita.
And I'm Felix Logis. Today, we have several fascinating stories from the world of science and technology.
Indeed, we do, Felix. Our top story today comes from the world of space exploration, where China's Tiangong space station has achieved a remarkable breakthrough in artificial photosynthesis.
That's right, Cynthia. The crew aboard what's known as the Heavenly Palace has successfully produced both oxygen and rocket fuel using a revolutionary process that mimics natural photosynthesis.
What's particularly impressive is that they've managed to do this at room temperature and normal pressure, making it significantly more energy efficient than current methods used on the International Space Station.
You know, Cynthia, this reminds me of my houseplants. They've been doing this for years, just not efficiently enough to power a rocket.
Well, Felix, I suppose your plants haven't been asked to fuel space exploration yet. Speaking of space, we have some interesting news about a rather unusual Earth companion, a quasi-moon, that's just received its official name.
Yes, the object formerly known as 2004 GU9 has been named Cardia after the Roman goddess of door hinges. And before you ask, yes, there's a good reason for that choice.
The name was actually chosen through a contest organized by the International Astronomical Union and the science podcast Radiolab. It symbolizes transitions and liminal spaces, which perfectly describes the unique orbital path of a quasi-moon.
And speaking of unique discoveries, researchers at the Perelman School of Medicine have made a breakthrough in cancer treatment using something called small extracellular vesicles.
This is fascinating, Felix. They're using these tiny vesicles derived from natural killer cells to target cancer cells. The early results show promise in treating melanoma, breast, and liver cancers.
It's amazing how these microscopic structures could potentially pack such a powerful punch against tumors. And the best part, they can be manufactured and stored easily.
Moving to environmental news, we have concerning updates about New Zealand's climate policies. The Climate Change Commission has determined that their current measures are no longer sufficient to keep global warming at 1.5 degrees C.
That's right, and it's particularly noteworthy given New Zealand's reputation as an environmental leader. The Commission is recommending more ambitious targets, especially regarding methane emissions from livestock.
In other news, a study on white-faced capuchin monkeys in Costa Rica has revealed some interesting findings about stress response and survival during droughts.
Yes, it turns out that monkeys with a more robust physiological stress response to mild droughts had better survival rates during the severe El Niño drought from 2014 to 2016.
It's fascinating how these findings could inform our understanding of species' resilience to climate change. Speaking of animal behavior, there's an interesting study about chimpanzees and their, shall we say, synchronized biological functions.
Ah, yes, the contagious urination study. Researchers found that chimps are more likely to urinate when others nearby are doing so, particularly following the lead of higher-ranking individuals.
It's similar to contagious yawning in humans, though perhaps not quite as socially acceptable to discuss at dinner parties.
And finally, we have news about El Capitan, the most powerful supercomputer ever built. This $600 million machine at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory has an astounding 11 million processors.
The numbers are mind-boggling, Felix. It can perform 2.7 quintillion calculations per second. To put that in perspective, it would take a human billions of years to do what this computer can do in 1 second.
Though I suspect it still can't tell you where I left my car keys. Cynthia.
Well, maybe that'll be in the next upgrade, Felix. And that brings us to the end of our main stories for today. Before we wrap up, any final thoughts on today's developments?
I'm particularly excited about the artificial photosynthesis breakthrough. It really shows how we're getting better at mimicking and improving upon natural processes.
Agreed. And it's wonderful to see how different fields of science are advancing simultaneously from space exploration to cancer treatment to climate research.
That's what makes science so exciting. There's always something new to discover and understand.
Well said, Felix. Thank you all for joining us today on the Autonomous Brief Science Edition. I'm Synthia Cognita.
And I'm Felix Logis. Stay curious, everyone.
Until next time, keep exploring the frontiers of science.